All right, so today I have a very good guest here. Brian Kardon is the Chief Marketing Officer of the marketing automation software company, Eloqua, and he's going to tell us about some of the marketing activities they're doing and kind of the thoughts behind it and how it's going. So welcome, Brian.
Hey, thanks so much, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing good, yeah. Okay, good. Well, why don't you start off talking, I believe you came from Forrester Research, right?
I did indeed. I was there for about 6 years. Yeah.
And then you came over to Eloqua. What were your thoughts? How did they lure you over? Kind of give me the mind thought processes that you went through in making that jump.
Well, it's a great question. So I was the head of marketing and strategy at Forrester, and one of the things I did at Forrester was I looked at improving our marketing performance through integration of a CRM with marketing automation. We looked at many vendors, and we actually decided, with the help of a lot of analysts at Forrester, we decided to use Eloqua. And so I was a very satisfied customer at Forrester, and I was there for almost 6 years. And then I got a call from a headhunter one day saying, hey, we'd be interested in Eloqua. And they said, it's kind of a smaller company. You may not have heard of it. I said, what do you mean never heard of it? Yeah, I've deployed them at Forrester. I know them intimately. And, Jeff, you'll appreciate this. You know, a big part of one's career is choosing a fast-growth industry. And I think all of us in sort of the marketing software industry feel that this is a very fast-growing industry. And so when the headhunter came calling, I was very interested in talking to them. Prior to Forrester, I'd been in publishing, and I had seen firsthand how a whole industry can just fall off a cliff fairly quickly. And
right.
I viewed marketing automation as just almost inevitable. That I think we're going to look back at this year and say, how come every business-to-business considered purchase company has not deployed marketing automation yet?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. In fact, Laura Ramos once said not long ago that something less than 10% of the available market has been sold in marketing automation, and that's pretty darn small, I think.
It's very small, and as some of your research bears out and others, the performance of companies using automated marketing is just exceptional compared to a controlled set of people that don't. And so given all the upside, it is surprising that, as Laura said, only about 10% have deployed it so far. But, maybe we're at the very steep part of that diffusion curve. Maybe there's been sort of the early adapters, and, as you know, most of the early adapters are technology companies who are heavy digital marketers anyway. But we're starting to see, financial services companies coming around, even old-line manufacturing companies coming around. And so I think it's starting to broaden out, and hopefully in the next few years we'll see a real steep increase in that 10% number.
So do you think it has reached the tipping point, Brian, or do you think we're getting closer to the tipping point?
I don't think it's at the tipping point yet. I see steady growth, but, sometimes there is that inflection point, as you suggest, where it just, you're literally picking up the phone and the orders are coming in fast and furious. We're seeing a lot of interest, but there's a lot of, you call yourself the fearless competitor, which I love that name, Jeff. And, we're seeing a lot of fear in marketing organizations, fear of the unknown, fear of, frankly, accountability. You and I are very familiar with marketing organizations who love accountability. They thrive in it, but that's still the minority. And I think a lot of marketing organizations still are very much right-brain marketers about creativity, and they're slowly coming around. The left brain is starting to win the fight, but it's taking a while. And so the fear of adopting marketing automation is about the visibility of everything that's going into marketing, the return on investment, and then also, frankly, it's about the implementation and about changing business processes. As you all know, it's not just plug and play where you buy a piece of software like PowerPoint and everyone can use it. You actually have to change some processes like lead routing, integration with the CRM. You have to actually have that decision with the head of sales, what's a good lead, what's a sales-ready lead, and what isn't. And so it requires a lot of work, and I think some organizations aren't ready for that challenge yet.
Yeah, I think you're right, Brian. I think there's a lot more to it than just buying a piece of software and implementing it. One thing I'd like to talk to you about is some of the actual approaches you're using now that you're at Marketo. Excuse me, that was a Freudian slip if there ever was one. I mean Eloqua. I'm so sorry.
Although I did hear Marketo is looking for a CMO, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So it's kind of interesting development out there. But yes. But anyway, I saw you came out a recent campaign. Well, first of all, before we talk about a specific one, let's talk about what you found at Eloqua when you came on board, what you saw as the challenges in terms of marketing, and kind of what your priorities were.
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think first is the team that we had in place was the team that got Eloqua to 10 or 15 million. It was not the team that could get us to 50, 100 million. This year we're going to hit about $52 million in revenue. So I had to really look at the talent and realize that some people just didn't have the experience to get us to the next level. And I'm very happy to report we've got a very, very strong marketing team here. So part of that is about getting the right people on the bus. The second is aiming the bus in the right direction. And Eloqua is very strong at at the software piece, but I think we had a lot of the processes, just like a lot of our clients, and we were struggling with some of the processes. And so our head of sales and myself, he's a wonderful guy named Alex Shootman, and he and I spent a lot of time defining terms, understanding what conversions we want to have between a marketing qualified lead and a sales accepted lead, and just working very hard on definitions, conversions, and what our goals were for demand generation primarily. And then we work backwards. If you have a financial advisor, they often say historical performance is no indication of future performance.
Mm-hmm.
The irony, of course, is in marketing, it is precisely indicative of future performance. So if you know what your historical conversion rates are, you could actually forecast future conversion rates, assuming you don't make any improvements. So we work backwards, and we know with great precision, how many MQLs we have to deliver by month, by quarter, by territory. And so it's very much turned into that part, a mathematical exercise, working
mm-hmm.
backwards. Now, that's the left brain. But to generate all those leads, you have to use a lot of creativity. And that's been a lot of fun for us over the last year or two. So first, getting the right team in place. Secondly, understanding what the numerical goals are. And then now we're in this phase, and we have been for the last year, really having a lot of fun and doing some creative marketing to generate all that demand.
This concludes part one of our interview with Brian Kardon, Chief Marketing Officer of Eloqua. Stay tuned for part two. In part two, we go through some specific, very creative marketing campaigns. And it's pretty interesting because they talk about not only what the campaigns were, but how they made them and some kind of behind the scenes insights into what happened with them. So I hope you'll tune in to part two of our interview with Brian Kardon.